sitting down with Tiana Zoumer, and so just how did you start? How did you become a hooper? Where did it all start?
Yeah, well, my friend Cheetah first started about 7 years ago at Burning Man, and I saw her doing it, and I was like, oh my god, goddess, and thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
And I actually didn't think I could do it at that point. I started doing it at Burning Man, and then she taught my 2 older sisters how to do it while I was traveling abroad. And I came back, and when they all were doing it, I was impulsively had to. So.
Yeah.
And then I got obsessed.
So your whole family is just like a family of hoopers. That's really cool.
Yeah. They've kind of diverged off. I got really like, hoop-minded and went
So what was the thing that like drew you in? Like how did you create that passion and see it? I don't
Well, I was in Orange County, so I didn't really have a lot of, I guess, creative outlet for myself for a long time, I think. Like, I was going to school and community college, and I wasn't really in my body at any point.
Yeah.
And then when I found the hoop, it was this vehicle to do something that no one was telling me what to do with it. And I wasn't in myself, and it had, like, suddenly I had something touching me and moving me, and that, like, feeling kind of made me obsessed.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. So, do you have hours, like a day? Do you practice like every single day? Is it something that you have to do, or is it more of like the touch of inspiration?
I don't have to hoop every day. There was a period when I first started, it was hours every day in my backyard. But then, like, kind of, I think I did it maybe like 3 years every day.
Oh,
pretty
wow.
solid. And then it definitely, I feel like I had to drop away from it almost to come back fresh, not fully, not that I would still pick it up and play with it. Like right now I feel like I'm kind of in this phase of I pick it up a bit every day, and for the last month or so I've been focusing on other practices that make my body feel really strong, because I think the more I feel I can do with my body, the more I'll be able to express myself with the hoop.
But the hooping is like that
hooping's the outlet that I go to, and I'm like, all right, time to
time to get down. And so what are some other things that you do outside of the hoop?
Yoga is definitely on the list. It also, that helps me like balance both sides of my body, because I know that hoopers, like, ideally we say that we want to balance, go both ways, practice everything right left, but it just doesn't happen, especially when we find patterns we like. It's just like we get in our flow and we're going.
So do you hoop right or hoop left? Like, what is your strong side?
My dominant is to the left.
Okay.
Yeah, so counterclockwise, I guess.
That's cool. So how would you describe your style of flow? Because when I observed, and this sounds really weird, but when I've observed you and watched all your videos, I've noticed that you have more this like raw, like expressive flow that I like love to see in hoopers. It's not so much like trick based, and I'm not saying like technically you're amazing, because you are. But I'm talking about more of like the fluid motion that you're able to like harness and grasp is really rare, and I've only ever seen it in a few hoopers, and you're one of them. So like how would you describe your style, and like what makes you, you know?
Yeah, I think well, I first started, it comes back to like the first approach I had to the hoop, decided to set me free. And it was that feeling of like, I can't make a mistake because I'm hula hooping. And like, no matter where hooping goes or what techniques people are eyeing or where I think I want to be, like the idea that anytime the hoop falls or something is going off, I don't expect that there's a deep trust in myself to keep moving, and that's beautiful. And like whatever happens can be beautiful. And especially because I started recording my practice really early, I noticed when I would start judging myself and I would stop moving, it was like it would end the flow, and I would be like doing well. If I would look back over, I'd be like, oh, things were happening. I couldn't see it. And so being able to witness myself gave me almost like the confidence or the knowing that I can keep moving.
Do you have a favorite move that you do, like that you almost always put in your flow, or it just happens naturally?
I think the infinity toss is like my addiction. Just like, it's such a zone out. Just I feel like I'm in the zone when I'm there. So,
the infinity toss. Have you ever experienced a serious injury from hooping? You know, have you ever had to like take a break or like been worried that, you know, you hurt something or had to go to the doctor for? Or...
No, nothing that's directly related to hooping. Everything that's been like in my outside practice. Like the only time I've really injured myself was I was getting my splits on both sides, and I got my split on my left side at hoop camp because I was hooping so much. And I felt really open and warm, and I was like, yeah! And I went into it, and I was like, oh no. It felt like my vagina broke a little bit itself.
Oh my goodness, that's funny. So that leads me to another question. Do you have like a favorite event that you've hooped at or performed for, or do you have a favorite?
I like a lot of different events for very specific reasons. Okay. I feel like when people throw a hoop event, it's like they're inviting you into what their idealism of the practice brings, you know? So Hoop Path is completely different from Sacred Circularities, but both of them have changed my life. Okay, so
tell me your experiences with both of them then. Like what, the differences?
So, Hoop Path is with Jonathan Baxter, and he's one of the original tubers ever, and so his practice is and he's a preacher's son and studied religion, and so he kind of takes this spiritual approach to his practice that it's very meditative, and when he's instructing, he brings in this mythology that he's made around his practice, and so you kind of get to fall into the metaphorical side of the meditation, which is really beautiful. And also the retreat, there's only 3 teachers, or 4 teachers, and so you get to teach about 100 people at one time, and you get to practice with the same people for the whole weekend, and so you feel like you're united, and by the end, everyone's just crying throughout the whole weekend because you're moving and you're bringing things up, and we're challenging each other to be in that raw, authentic space, and also inviting a lot of
being open
open, yeah, exactly. That's awesome. That's one of the things he says in practice. It's like open. It's like you can go as far as you want in your practice, and you can listen and be inspired by as many people as you want, and so that space, everyone who steps in it is really inspiring for whatever they bring to the table. That's the
sounds really beautiful. It sounds like I need to go.
Yeah, well, last year but he's going to do something else. I know.
I definitely need to go to one of those events, but yeah.
And it depends what you want. Because some hoop camps and hoop convergence are really good because they bring so many different teachers out. Yeah. And so you can learn from a lot of different people. So it depends if you want the intensive or if you want everything. Yeah.
So what was Sacred Circularities for? What was that like?
That was beautiful. That was also the first time I went to Bali. Yeah. So
so it's beautiful. So it's beautiful location and just
everything's alive there. Yeah. And there's already there's a spiritual element to the practice. Yeah. It brings you into your body and closer to life, and therefore, yes, your sweat kind of gives you an ecstatic experience. Yeah. And at Sacred Circularities, that's very much the focus as well, but there's a lot of different teachers. You get to do African dance, 5 rhythms, movements. You feel very connected again to the people that you're with. Yeah. It's about 50 people per group, and so it's very intimate. Yeah. And you feel bonded to people very quickly, and that's a week long. So
do you ever prepare for an event? Do you ever come up with a routine, or do you just kind of practice your moves and then kind of let it speak through that?
My preparation for teaching especially is to share what I love about my practice, and so I always try and make sure that it's I'm rewriting workshops every time. Yeah. Because I want it to be fresh and something that's evolving, but also it's coming from these theories that have been developed over a long time that, I like the infinity toss, I'm going to find a way to reverse it and turn it to a 180 so it becomes I can keep building on the same building blocks of teaching that I already have. Yeah. And also it kind of helps me to figure out my movements.
To be able to take something old and bring something new each time keeps you interested as the teacher as well as well as the students, And
it's impossible to teach a class without it evolving because, hoopers are so creative that there's going to be a million, how many students are, that's how many variations come out. That's awesome.
Really. That's really cool. I think that's one of the reasons I love the community is everyone's so open to learning and expressing and sharing, and that's what's really wonderful. What are some things that you want to accomplish with your hoop? What do you have, what are some goals that you see for yourself, whether it be a trick, an event, an emotion, something that what do you want to feel I guess in like a week, or like what do you want to bring new to yourself and your practice? It is a big question.
It's something that I think about a lot, but it's also it's so many things.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think a dream of mine is to share hoop as an art and to like increase its acceptance in more and more circles.
Yeah.
So not just our hoop community, because obviously we have this deep respect and appreciation of art that blossoms through everyone. But then you go out in the world and people are like, how many can you do? How long do you keep it up? And you're like, no, this is different than, you know, ideas.
I definitely agree with that. So you really want to be able to like share it with it, like this is a real practice. This is really like body, mind, and spirit. Like this is an involving practice, and it's really beautiful, and anyone can do it. You know, and I think that's really noble and beautiful.
When I first started in my practice, I needed music, I feel like, in order to get out of my head. Now I feel like I would rather hoop in silence, because it's the rhythm of the hoop is musical to me already. The way it touches and like you move your body is creating its own music and story, and sometimes I just want to listen to that, and I hear music in my head when I hoop sometimes, and I'm like this is the wah 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 or something, just like the sounds are happening. When I teach, I make sound effects, so it's I feel like we're making music, but it's like that Nietzsche quote. It's like I like being able to hear my breath and just focus on that.
Really? So you really like involve every part of you. It's not just like, you know, just learning and doing things. You're like tuning in your breathing and your emotion and your focus. If you were to describe someone who's never heard of hooping, how would you describe what you do?
I think I'm an artist, because the practice of hoop is almost what gives me courage to create art in all facets of my life. And that's kind of what I notice about most hoopers that I meet, is that they are artists already, and hoop is just one element of their life that like spirals out this confidence in them. Wherever they're at, it almost helps them like tune into what they need to create next and what their output would be from that center point that begins all.
Yeah.
My clothing, this is mine.
You drew that?
Yeah.
I think I saw this on Instagram, but it doesn't look as awesome in person. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see on the Instagram picture. It's like
it looks like mountains and like valleys.
I'm getting into textiles and creating my own designs. This is based on the hoop.
When you draw, do you kind of like tune that same emotion from when you hoop?
Yeah.
Just like just let it flow out.
Yeah, I start by just like looking at the blank page, which is in its essence kind of like where you start when you are about to hoop. You're just holding it, and it can go in infinite possibilities, but bottom line, there's no mistakes, and it's important to go one kind of connection point at a time in order to string along like your pieces. And so this is like the same kind of meditation. I don't have a plan before it comes out. I'm just breathing, going through the process.
So you're like creating a story.
I started writing to be able to like, it's almost like writing yourself a permission slip, like to be able to do what you want, like to move the way you want in the world. It's like, this is the way I'm feeling, this is everything that I need to hear, so here it is, so I can go do it.
Wow. Do you ever feel disappointed with your hoop?
All the time a little bit, because you always can see where you want to be, and that's always going to be a step beyond where you are. You know, if you have any sense of goals or dreams, and that's normal. But it's also important to be like, okay, well now is where it's growing, and now is where it's exactly what I need to be appreciating. And so I think I've always had this almost like a self-deprecating habit my whole life that has built up for a long time, that the hoop kind of started transforming into something else. It kind of forced me to appreciate it. Otherwise, you know, the hoop falls and I stop hooping, okay, then I'm done. It's like, then you walk away and you're upset, or no, you pick it up and you keep going, or you watch it fall and you think it looks beautiful and you fall with it. Like, there's a lot more avenues. There's just more choices, more directions to go in when you're playing with a circle. But the frustration has to come, otherwise, like, you're not going to grow. Like, you have to find where your friction is in order to soften it or overcome it.
Wow.